Massachusetts teen is dead after he attempted the one chip challenge. And so this is where you're eating an incredibly spicy chip, and the family at this point is blaming the chip. So Harris was 14 years old and he passed away on Friday. And so what happened? And how do we say this? A Paqui chip?
Yeah, Paqui.
Paqui chips. So he had eaten one of these chips earlier in the school day. Now, as far as what this looks like, I mean, the branding is just rough. It's fun and whatever, but it's like the coffin because it's so hot and this is a trend. Eat the chip, record yourself, put it on social media, try to not down water or milk or anything
Yeah.
for as long as possible. So that's the gimmick. The chip's like $10, and
You can get it like markets and grocery stores and gas stations. You can just get it places online.
Yeah, so there are warnings on the actual packaging, and it just has to do with a number of, if you're pregnant, don't eat this. If you are not an adult, don't eat this. So there's all kinds
Allergies
of
to
warnings.
peppers and
So he ate the chip. He wasn't feeling well. Went to the nurse's office and was then sent home. Now he had passed out
yeah.
while at school, so I think that whether there's any kind of liability for the school, the family is saying they're like, we think that you should have sent him to the hospital, not just to in the nurse.
At the very
But
least, call the EMTs to come check him out at the actual, school or something might have been smart, but
And so, when asked for a comment, the owners of Paqui in Texas,
mhm.
Paqui LLC, they just said that it would be inappropriate this time to kind of comment about the loss of life and to speculate on why. Because did the chip kill his kid? You know what I'm
Well,
saying? Like, were
he
there underlying medical conditions?
he went to well, it's all being investigated still. They're gonna, they're still doing the medical examination to determine the actual cause of death. But yeah, like you said, he was feeling sick after doing the challenge at school. He went to the nurse's office where he passed out or he fainted. They guess came to. Mom came and picked him up. He got home where he just kind of got progressively worse, passed out again, and then they took him to the hospital, and then that's where he died. And we've watched shows like Hot Ones where they're eating all the hot chicken wings and stuff like that, and we've seen these challenges before, and they're definitely something that I've never done, nor would I do, just because it just seems I never understand these challenges where you're supposed to torture yourself in some way. Like I just can't relate to that. But this doesn't surprise me. I know that I've eaten spicy things and you just sometimes you can't feel like you can't breathe. It's overwhelming. If you do have an underlying condition or like a heart problem, I could see where something like this, could really affect you. Um, and I don't know. Again, I just don't even understand the whole concept of it. Since they have pulled the Paqui has done a voluntary pulling from stores and stuff. So
As far as, could there have been underlying medical other issues? Could he have just passed away from something else, and it just so happened that he had this incredibly
we'll
hot
find out
chip
soon.
and it made him sick, and because of the underlying issues he was passing out, and so that, unfortunately for the business, I mean, the damage is done as
Right.
far as the publicity, because now they've reacted and they're not recalling the chips because the chip may not have caused
Right.
his death,
Right.
but they're voluntarily retracting the chip out of stores, and
Out
so
of
they're doing
abundance
this.
of caution.
Yeah, but the damage is done nonetheless. Now, are they really going to be that harmed? Because this probably was just more of a fad thing that they were doing. As you know, fads and trends and viral things go out. And so, maybe they already made their money from this. It's not a big deal. But I mean, of course, if there's any kind of evidence, that they find to potentially connect this to this company, you better believe the next thing we're going to be reporting on is a lawsuit against the chip company.
And possible class action because you're gonna maybe see other things. It's gonna
Sure.
be like those lawyers that are on TV. Did your child, mysteriously die 2 days after eating a chip, or something like I don't know. I just see
Yeah,
stuff
these
like this.
personal well, it's because these personal injury attorneys, when you're talking about the loss of life,
Yeah.
we're talking about them being able to seek millions of dollars for the families, and then the personal injury attorneys just take a percentage. So they'll get 35%, 45% of that. So there's a reason why they're like, yeah, we'll do it for free, just contingency. It's because
And
they're
this
gonna take a big piece of the pie.
and the school isn't, they're not making any comments other than it's just tragic and they're sad and whatever. obviously nobody, it's tough when something like this happens because you don't know what to say, because you want to just be like, oh my god, this is just so awful, but these companies have to worry about their lawsuits and admitting any kind of guilt or something publicly, so there's like this whole PR dance thing that happens. Absolutely tragic.
Yeah.
We see these trends, these TikTok trends. I'm not just saying just chips, but just like anything, and they're so dangerous, and just people just I don't know. Maybe I'm being a square right now. I don't know, but it just seems a little extreme for things, and I hope that his family can find some peace, because it's that's a terrible way to die, a tragic, meaningless nothingness kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, and to the extent there are no, new updates on this and what happened, we will be sure to report on it.